going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're doing well. So, haven't done the show in a few days. Was busy with a few things, but now I'm back in the studio. Should be back in the studio for the most part going forward. I'm done going back and forth between my house in New York and my house in Connecticut. So, that's good. But, and for a preview day, and I was just getting to you guys the day after I said I was going to. Sorry about that, but I did say that was subject to change, the 19th, so, but today's Tuesday the 20th, you guys should be seeing this a little bit earlier. Usually I have them go live at 5 o'clock, you guys should be seeing this a little bit earlier than that, but regardless, let's get started. Going to go division by division, team by team, say their record, my record prediction, and why. So let's get started. Let's start with the AFC East. In first place, I actually think the Miami Dolphins winning the AFC East here. Look, I'm not a fan of Tua Tagovailoa by any means. If you've watched the show at any point during the football season, or any point, regardless, for more than probably 4 minutes whenever I talk football, you know I think the guy's very overrated. I don't see why people put him in that elite category. He's a fine starter with pieces around him like he has in Miami, but that's about it. The contract they gave him is kind of ridiculous. But I just think the rest of the AFC East got worse. I mean, yes, they lose a bunch of pieces on defense. You lose Christian Wilkins up front. You have Dwayne Phillips coming off an injury. You lose Van Ginkel at linebacker. Xavier Howard, you lose him in the secondary. So you lose a bunch of pieces on defense. But the offense is going to score so many points. They still have Raheem Mostert. You still have Devon Achane. I know he's a bit of an injury risk. When he's healthy, he's one of the biggest big play threats from his position in the league. Plus, you have Jeff Wilson there. You drafted Jalen, whatever his name is, the one kid you drafted. You still have Tyreek, you still have Jalen Waddle. You still have all those pieces over there. The offense is still going to score so many points. I think the defense would be just fine, especially if Phillips comes back and picks up where he left off. You draft Chop Robinson in the first round. I think they reached for him a tiny bit. I think they picked him, 23rd overall? I thought he was a guy who was going to go to the very end of the first round, maybe early in the second round. But he's definitely a very good talent. Very raw. Might take some time to develop to the league, but if he does make an impact this year, that'll definitely help them a lot. And I know that Miami collapses every single year at the end of the year, it seems like. But the reason I have them winning the division, I just think the Bills are going to fall off a little bit this year. I do have them in second place. I probably put Miami 11, second Buffalo at 9 and 8. Josh Allen's a great quarterback, but the turnovers are a major concern. His receiving core is really bad. You have a second-round rookie, Keon Coleman, I think could be pretty good. But I don't think he's a 1, and he's also only a rookie. Very funny. He's very funny mic'd up. The guy got him mic'd up there in the year, but his talent, I think he's just a solid player. And for that receiving core, leaves a lot to be desired. Curtis Samuel's a fine 3. That's about it. I think they overpaid for him, giving him $10 million a year. And then you're looking at Khalil Shakir. I don't hate his a little guy in the slot. Maybe a serviceable third receiver, kind of similar to Curtis Samuel, but once he has a huge breakout, I don't really think he's going to be a huge difference maker this year, though he will get a lot more reps, I'm sure. Chase Claypool, who sucks anyway, is out for the year. I think you have Mac Hollins there. He's not any good. Just the rest of the core. Marcus Valdes-Scantling isn't any good. Dalton Kincaid is a very good young tight end. Cook's a good back. And look, Allen's a great player. He obviously has a cannon, can make plays with his legs that seem impossible to a guy his size. He's still one of the best 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the league, in my opinion. Easily top 5, probably top 3. But they lost a lot. You trade away Stephon Diggs for a draft pick. You lose Gabe Davis. You lost pieces on defense, too. You also lost a piece on the offensive line. Mitch Morse, who was probably your best offensive lineman. You lose him. Or it's probably Dawkins, but a line that already had concerns with loses their second best lineman. No, so they have to shuffle some pieces around. Your secondary looks very different. You let go of Tre'Davious White, and there is a lot of trouble sticking on the field, but he's very good when he's healthy. You lose him. You lose Jordan Poyer, very good safety when he's healthy. That's a guy that you lose. So, and they didn't really do anything to replace these guys. I mean, they re-signed Taylor Rapp, who will probably move into a starting role, but he was back up last year for a reason. He's just a serviceable player. So I don't know how they're going to fill. Kyle Allen to this point hasn't been impressive for his first 2 years since being a first-round pick. He's going to, this is a make-or-break year for him. So there's a lot of moving parts. My thought is, when Josh Allen has, Stephon Diggs and he has Gabe Davis and he has a better defense. He's still throwing, 18 interceptions. Then, he loses these guys. He might have to run a lot more. The problem is he gets so worn out because, now they have an actual running game with James Cook, but he gets so worn out. That's why I think he hasn't performed as well as he probably should have in a couple of playoff games. While they have been able to look past the Kansas City Chiefs, have not been able to get past the Cincinnati Bengals. Haven't even been to the AFC Championship since 2020. Haven't passed the division round since then. Obviously, have not been to a Super Bowl yet in the Josh Allen era. I think he's just worn out. And now he's got, the receiving core obviously isn't as reliable. He has an actual running back now. The line also wasn't as good, so I have a bunch of concerns. I think they'll fall off a little bit this year, though they could still end up making the playoffs. I'll do my playoff bracket. I'll probably do that later this week, so you'll see that soon. But in third place, I have the New York Jets. I just don't have any confidence in them. I wish I could say I have more confidence in my Jets. I don't. Aaron Rodgers obviously is an all-time great, and same thing as last year. If things go completely right, he's still a very good quarterback. They should be able to have a very good running game with Breece Hall as a stud. Brandon Allen's look really good. I liked him coming out of Wisconsin. I liked him when he was there. I liked him coming out. I liked him when we just drafted him. And then, Abonaconda is a player who didn't play well in the regular season, but looked good in preseason last year. Then he got hurt. He's looked good in preseason again this year. We'll see what happens. You add Mike Williams along with Garrett Wilson. You draft Malachi Corley, who Justin Terori like. Their line should be a lot better on paper. You bring in Tyron Smith, who, when healthy, is an all-pro left tackle. Morgan Moses is certainly an upgrade at right tackle. You bring in John Simpson. You draft Oliver Vashano, I think, will be a stud. Still an amazing defense. Even with, you lose John fucking Myers up front. You lose Bryce Huffle, a good year last year. Breakout year last year off the edge. Hassan Reddick is just in no man's land on what the hell his deal is. But there's just so many issues with this team that I think are going to pop up. Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old coming off a torn Achilles, and he basically missed the entire season last year. He played 4 snaps. They have a better backup quarterback with Tyrod Taylor. He's certainly better than Mac Wilson. He's actually a pretty good backup, but there's a reason he's not a starter. If he's in by the third or fourth week of the year, and we have to ride the rest of the year with Tyrod Taylor, not many good things are going to happen. I have a hard time believing that. And just, the line's got a lot of injury concerns. Tyron Smith is always been an injury risk, especially these last few years. Morgan Moses has injury concerns. Vera Tucker, who you're moving back to guard, he's an injury risk. So, they have better depth this year. Drafting Fashanu, so now you can kind of play that right. You start him at right tackle and have Morgan Moses be the swing guy, or have Fashanu be the swing guy, kind of ease him in. Maybe you do some 6-man fronts at times to kind of ease Fashanu in there. So you have options there. You have better depth as a group. The talent-wise, they're better. But still, a bunch of injury concerns on the line. That is still very concerning. And now you got all these problems behind the scenes with Hassan Reddick. You trade for him. You have had trouble getting him the extension he's been holding out. After he said he wasn't going to, now you requested a trade 4 months after you trade for him, after you requested a trade from the Eagles. And, as a result of you bringing him in, you weren't able to re-sign Bryce Huff with 10 sacks last year. You had trade with Jonathan Myers, who's a good player up front, because you weren't really able to pay both of them. Look, they still, obviously Quentin Williams is a stud. Hopefully this kid we drafted last year, Will McDonald, steps up. But, if you have Reddick, you're amazing. With him, I think he'll be just fine. Remember, Quentin Williams is an incredible speed rusher. Mosley in the middle of that secondary is insanely good. With Sauce, who I think is the best corner in the game, and DJ Reed and all those guys they got over there. So they'll be just fine, but you know how I feel about this coaching staff. Saw incredible defensive mind, but knows nothing about offenses. He's not. I don't think he's a head coach in this league. Hack is a horrible offensive coordinator. If he's smart, he'll pound the rock. He'll pound the ball into the ground a lot with Breece Hall and Brandon Allen, and he'll run at least 25-30 times a game and set up play action for Aaron Rodgers. You have a star receiver in Garrett Wilson. You have a really good deep threat in Mike Williams. He'll be very useful in the red zone. I think Conklin could be a guy with tight end you could use in the red zone. Even Jeremy Rucker, who's not one of the tight ends that could use him in the red zone. And, you do that, you should be able to score at least 21, 24 points, no problem. And then with this defense, that should be a winning formula. But they're not going to do that. They're going to be like, oh, we got to throw about 4 times a game, and Rodgers is going to drop back too many times. He's going to get hurt. And we're going to see Tyrod Taylor before we know it. And it's going to go haywire. Also, the Jets, when what can go wrong will go wrong with the Jets. So, whatever small issues they got, I'm sure will pop up. You know, I learned last year that I officially just cannot trust the Jets no matter how talented their team is. So I had them at 6-11. In last place, I have the New England Patriots. I had them at 4-13. There's just not a lot going for them there. We still know who the quarterback is. It might be Jacoby Brissett, who's just, all right, he's fine. You can live with him. He's a very good backup fill-in guy, good locker room guy. I mean, he's a solid mentor for Drake May. But if he's your starter week 1, your quarterback room probably needs a lot of work. Or obviously it could be Drake May, you just drafted overall. But that line is really concerning to me. Andrews is a solid center. But then other than that, I like Owenu. Where he's a tackle guard. He played a lot of right tackle last year. He's very good. The rest of it, I don't know who the left tackle is. We're heading into week 3 of preseason. And I don't know who their left tackle is. That's a problem. Today's August. You guys see this well, August 20th. We're 2.5 weeks, less than 3 weeks from the Patriots' first game. You don't know who the starting quarterback is. You don't know who the left tackle is. That's really problematic. I don't know if I've ever seen that. That's bad. That line is bad. And if they're going to throw Drake May back there behind that line, part of me is if they set him out for the full season, if he's as ready as the scouting report says he is, and who I personally think he is to an extent, from that perspective, it doesn't make any sense. But from what the hell that line, whatever that line is, if you don't want to throw him back there, honestly, I am not against it. Honestly, as the day go by, more and more of me wonder, you could just draft Marvin Harrison Jr. and just sign Brissett for a year. Would you have won 5 games? Yeah. Part of me was like, maybe you should have just done that. Honestly, they had a crap ton of cap space. If you went out and drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. and signed Kirk Cousins, they might have been a playoff team. In fact, they probably would have been a playoff team. But that's not the route they took. I mean, Ryan is a very good back, but that receiving core, there's not a true weapon on this team besides Ramondre. Born to 3 at best, coming off a major injury. Polk's a second-round rookie who I do think will be pretty good. You have Javon Baker, a 4th-round rookie. Not sure what he's going to give you. DeMar Douglas, second-year guy, 5th-round guy. 5th pick last year, second-year guy. Still hasn't proven himself yet. Though he flashed a little bit last year. KJ Osborne, at best, is a 3. You brought him over from the Vikings. Henry's a solid tight end, but he also can't block. And they have bad offensive line. And defensively, they should be very good. But you trade away Judon, who is by far your best pass rusher. You only get back to 3rd-round pick. So the only pass rusher you already have is Uche. Christian Barmore, who had a great year last year. Defensive tackle might not play this year because of blood clots. So outside of Devon Godchow and Josh Uche, who needs a guy like Judon across from him to be really, truly productive. Not a lot there. Bentley's a pretty good linebacker. Getting Christian Gonzalez back will be very, very helpful. He was a stud before he got hurt last year. The second should be pretty good. You also have Jonathan Jones, who's a good corner, especially in the slot. Kyle Duggar, you re-signed him to on a 4-year deal. He's a very good player. You should have a pretty solid secondary. But also, you have a rookie head coach in Jarrell May, who I do think is a good defensive mind. I don't know if he's a good head coach. That remains to be seen. The rookie head coach, don't know who the quarterback is. It's a mess. They're going to win 4 games. Probably at best. I don't even know if I can talk myself into 5. I can't do it personally. In fact, most Patriots fans I don't really think can. There's a couple of times I'll watch a podcast and both look at the Patriots fans and they look at the 3.5 win loss and they're like, I'm hitting the under on that. So yeah, 4-13 is what the New England Patriots will be this year. All right, AFC North. I have the Baltimore Ravens winning the division again. You lose a couple guys on the offensive line. You lose Simpson and Moses to the Jets, obviously. Staley's got injury problems. Also, you add Derrick Henry, who is 30 years old. I don't think he's the same guy But the Ravens line, yes, it's worse than it was last year, but it's certainly better than whatever the Titans O-line had last year when Henry ran for 1,100 yards. His yards might go down because I think they're going to use him a lot less because Lamar Jackson obviously runs a lot. Ravens have other backs they could use, or they like to use multiple backs. But I think he'll make him more effective. Maybe not from I guess from a fantasy football perspective, Henry's value goes down, but from a NFL perspective, he could honestly be more efficient. This will make him more efficient as he goes into the home stretch of his career. Let's be honest, he started as always a running back, especially of how heavily he's been used in recent years. So, but still, the running with Lamar and Henry, that's tough to stop for any defense. Justice Hill is still hanging around there, You get Keaton Mitchell back at some point. Yes, the weapons aren't great. Zay Flowers is a very good young receiver. Andrews is a stud tight end, but the rest of the receiving core is a lot to be desired. Though I do like Tez Walker. Get him in the forefront out of UNC. I think he's a very good player. And they still have the right defense. I know you lose a couple of guys. You lose Patrick Queen, who had a great year at linebacker last year. You lose Geno Stone, who's a good safety, very versatile defensive back. He goes to the Bengals. But overall, you still have a phenomenal defense. Harbaugh's an incredible defensive mind as your head coach. He's a very good coach. I know you lose a lot of guys on that staff defensively. Mike McDonald took the head coach job in Seattle. Anthony Weaver, your D-line coach, took the defensive coordinator job in Miami. And then I think the DB coach took the defensive coordinator job maybe somewhere else. Maybe that's who McDonald picked, or he took it somewhere else. It was Denard Wilson or something his name on. That's what happens when you had a defense that was as good as the Ravens were last year. You look at the defensive staff, like, damn, these guys know a thing or two, and they and they all get jobs somewhere else. As head coaches or as defensive coordinators, if they were assistants under the defensive coordinator, but they should still be a very good team. I had them at 12-5 and still winning the division. In second place, out of the Cincinnati Bengals, they'll bounce back. They had a lot of injuries last year. Obviously, having Joe Burrow healthy alone probably adds a couple of wins last year. You won, 8 or 9 games last year? You probably need to add 2 wins to get back in the playoffs. You probably have to just getting Joe Burrow back alone, having Chase healthy, Higgins healthy. You do lose a couple of pieces. Tyler Boyd was a slot receiver. You lose him. You lose one of the better backs from Joe Mixon. You only get some round pick back from him if you trade him away to Houston. Now you lose DJ Reader up front. You lose probably your best cover corner, Chidobe Awuzie. You also draft Maurice Mims in the first round. That will really help your offensive line, which should be a lot better with him and Lena Brown, your tackles. Now you have Ted Karras at center and Alex Kappa at guard. That's a pretty good-looking offensive line. You got on defense, you still have, Sam Hubbard. You still have some guys, Logan Wilson. You brought in Geno Stone. You bring back Von Bell. So, look, I don't think the defense is great, but that offense should still be electric. Problem is, they're kind of in a Super Bowl or bust year to me. So, look, the cap crunch have already caused you. So happens when you pay the quarterback, though. Joe Burrow is absolutely amazing. I do think he's the second best quarterback in the league, besides Patrick Mahomes, of course. You lose Joe Mixon, you lose Tyler Boyd, you lose DJ Ray, you lose Chidobe Awuzie. So you're already starting to lose a bunch of guys. T. Higgins probably won't be on the team next year. Obviously, he was holding out. He wanted to trade. Then he decided, I'll play on the franchise tag. He had a bit of a change of heart. Who knows who's next at this point. So, to me, if they don't win Super Bowl this year, now it's like, all right, you're probably going to lose Higgins next year. Chase still needs a contract. Now you're on the risk of basically having Burrow, Chase, and nobody else because you can't afford anybody else. It's a big year for them. I still think they are the biggest threats to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC because they're the only team that we've seen beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs are so dominant to me. It's like I need to see it to believe it when it comes to them, losing it all in the playoffs. But Bengals are the only team that's done it in both the regular season and the playoffs. The Bills have done it in the regular season, not the playoffs. The Ravens haven't done it in either. The Dolphins haven't done it in either. So the only team I think that I've seen do it in both the regular season and the postseason is Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they're still the biggest threat. Even though I don't have them winning the division, but I think they go 11-6 and make the playoffs. That'll be a pretty tight division where I think the Ravens will pull it out, though. In third place are the Pittsburgh Steelers. For a while, I've always had them in third over Cleveland. A lot of things I've seen in preseason have been screaming last place to me, but I'm very low on Cleveland this year, so but Pittsburgh, look, their quarterback situation is really, really rough. And Russell Wilson, the guy's just old. He isn't the same anymore. Fields, I liked him coming out. Every single day, I become less and less confident with the guy. Look, I think their running back room is pretty solid. Najee Harris I think, is a pretty good back at least. Jalen Warren isn't bad. No, he's hurt. The pick is really good. I like him, but the rest of the receiving core kind of leaves a lot to be desired. They have a very good defense with TJ Watt and Cam Hayward, Alex Highsmith, and Joey Porter's a good corner, Mika Fitzpatrick. So they have a really good defense. Tomlin's a great coach. Arthur Smith should be a better offensive coordinator. He'll probably be a more run-heavy coach, which will help them. But that offense still leaves a lot to be desired. It's honestly, I have them at 7-10. You think, all right, Mike Tomlin will somehow drag them to 9-8. Like, I don't know how he does it. I mean, he dragged a team of Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, and Mitch Trubisky at quarterback. A really bad offensive line and a really bad offensive coordinator to 9-8. First of all, the offensive coordinator, that was his fault for keeping Matt Cannon on his staff as long as he did. But and now you lose Deontay Johnson. And but the quarterback situation, although it still is not good, it's, I guess, better in a way. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields is probably better than Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, and Mitch Trubisky. I guess it's not by much. But overall, you lose Deontay Johnson, your second best receiver. You get nothing back for him. He's I think a fine 2 or a 3. He has some drop issues. But it's hard. I don't know. You're going to need a miracle to drag us into 9 because that offense looks rough. I mean, they're going out there. I mean, yes, you can't put much stock into preseason. You just can't. But to me, when guys look really good, I'm like, all right, it's kind of what they should be doing. It's like when in baseball, when like an all-star caliber guy is injured and he does his rehab assignment in like AA, and the guy's a pitcher, and he has like 8 strikeouts in 4 innings, or a hitter goes 3 for 4. Like, I mean, the guy's been in the league for 8 years. He should be, killing it against guys who are 19 years old who are still a year or 2 away from the major leagues. It's when they look really bad, they're like, whoa. When like a proven vet in MLB is in AA and he's getting shelled in 3 innings, a pitcher, he's going 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts as a hitter. When you're when a guy like Russell Wilson, who's supposed to be the starting quarterback, he's going out there against 3rd-string guys, and he just looks horrible. He's got no pocket presence. The line looks that bad. That's when I'm like, okay, there's something wrong here. So, I have 7-10, but looking for them, I have to bring it to 5-12. The defense is really good. Myles Garrett's obviously a stud. You have Dalvin Thompson on the middle, Owusu Koromoa at linebacker, and Denzel Ward's a great corner. They have a really good defense, one of the best in the league for sure. But Deshaun Watson, no. The guy he's a shell of himself. He's not that good anymore. I have to leave it to see it. Chubb's coming off a major injury, his 3rd major leg injury he's had since his last year at Georgia. He's now, 28? I don't see what he's going to give you this year. Maybe with Jerome Ford, who I think is a solid back, but nothing more. I like Amari Cooper. You bring in Judy, though, who you massively overpaid, but he's a fine, probably 2nd or 3rd receiver. Moore's he's a fine deep threat. Njoku's very good, so. But the quarterback is a major concern. And also, like last year, you had the gods of Joe Flacco. You don't have him anymore. Dorian Thompson-Beckham isn't any good. I think their backup is, they brought somebody, and I forgot who it was. Oh, is it Jameis Winston? No, he might be somewhere else, actually. No, I think he might be in Cincinnati or something like that. I forget, but they brought in someone who's like a half-decent backup, but like if Watson goes down again or he's so bad, well, if he's bad enough to where he needs to be benched, it's a problem. The guy's on a $230 million fully guaranteed contract. That's just a messy situation there. I don't see it ending well, and it's the Browns, 5-12. The AFC South, Texans I have winning it. I have it 12-5. So the Texans are weird. Their roster is probably the best roster in the league. Stroud is a stud. You add Joe Mixon, who's a very good back, especially out of the passing game. You add a great receiver in Stephon Diggs. I don't think he's a bit of a baby, but on the field, great receiver, one of the 10 best in the league. Tank Dell is healthy. He was having a great year last year. Nico Collins is a stud. You bring back Dalton Schultz. I think the line will be fine. It's a little small concern to have, but if they're healthy with Tunsil, I think Kenyon Green will be better. I think Drew Scruggs will be even better. I think they will be just fine. I think they're very good defensively. You add Daniel Hunter, who's very good, along with Will Anderson. And D'Amico Ryans is a great coach, great defensive mind. That secondary is really good with Stingley and Jalen Petrie. They have a lot of playmakers over there. I like what they see, and that offense is insanely talented. You have probably the best young quarterback in the league, and probably one of the best 5 quarterbacks in the league right now, CJ Stroud, with an insanely talented offense. Whenever there's a young team like the Tech, we've seen this in sports all the time. You have a young team that had no expectations, and one year they go buck wild, and they completely blow expectations out of the water, and they make the playoffs. And then next year, they add a bunch of veterans, and now the pressure is on. The window officially opens. We go, oh, they're going to take a big jump, and, the pressure kind of gets to them. They don't take as big of a jump as we thought. And I can see that being the Houston Texans. They fall into that category, but just the division, I don't think they're necessarily a bad team at the division. I think that division will be more competitive than people think. But Texans are still head and shoulders above all the teams over there. And, just their roster, to me, it's the least flawed roster in the league, to me. So, I have them at 12-5, and easily winning the division. In second place, this one was tough because the Titans, Jaguars, and Colts are kind of all in like that same category, I feel like. But I do have the Jacksonville Jaguars in second place. I have them at 9-8. Like, they're a team, if you were just a casual fan, you would think, wow, they're a really talented team. They should easily make the playoffs. Then when you reanalyze, you're like, all right, Trevor Lawrence, we know he's a decent quarterback. We don't know if he's great, and he's being paid to be great, and he was drafted to be really great. Look, I think Etienne's a very good back. He's going to split time with Tank Bigsby this year. He has some solid weapons. I like Brian Thomas, first round back. Supposedly he's looked really good in camp. You still have Christian Kirk over there. England's returned to a very good tight end. You have a good line. Defensively, you had Armstead, which will definitely help. Trevor Walker had a much better year last year. I liked what's his name? Devin Lloyd, the linebacker. Secondary should be a little bit better. You add Darnell Savage. It should be a little bit better. You make changes on with the defensive staff. But there's not one thing that right now I think they do like elite. Like every team has something they at least do really well. Like even like the New York Giants, where I think are going to be god awful. They're going to have a great pass rush. But then the Broncos, that's might be an exception to the rule. But they have Pat Surtain. They should have a pretty good, pass coverage team. At least Pat Surtain is gonna lock people down at corner. The Jaguars, like, what? They do a few things like decently. Like they run the ball fine. Like their weapons are good. Their pass rush should be fine, but they're just very mediocre. Unless Lawrence breaks out into the guy that he was drafted to be, that's a whole different ballgame. He'll elevate some of those guys, and they should be in the playoffs. Otherwise, hard for me to have them being anything more than mediocre. In third place, I have the Indianapolis Colts. I have them at 7-10. I think they'll take a slight step back. Just with Anthony Richardson, he's just so raw. He just needs supply, though. Him and Taylor should make a very good running game with the read options you'll have. I think Pittman's a good receiver. He's a guy, he's a great 2. He's a survivable number 1 receiver, but I think works better as a 2. I like Josh Downs a lot, but now he's nicked up. Pierce is fine. And that's about their line's pretty good. Defensively, I like what they have up front with DeForest Buckner and all the guys they have up there. The secondary to me isn't great. I like Shane Steichen, but that's still a very young team. I think it's still a year or 2 away. And in last place, I have a Tennessee Titans. Look, I think Titans did a lot of good things in the offseason, but I'm not sold on Will Levis by any means. I didn't really like him coming out. I'm not that surprised he dropped him in the draft. And I know they're hyping him up a lot. I think he'll fall a little flyer than people think. Look, Pollard's a solid back. I think you have Tyler Spears there as well. I like you bringing in Calvin Ridley. You bring in Tyler Boyd. You still have D-Hop there, so they should have a pretty good receiving core. I think the line is very inexperienced though. Latham is a pretty good addition at the 7th pick. They reach a little bit, and then Bill Callahan coaching the offensive line that will help. I like Brian Callahan as a head coach. Defensively, they should be pretty good. Jeffrey Simmons is a stud. You have Harold Landry there. Secondary should be pretty good. But I'm not confident in Will Levis. And to me, if he takes a major step that, some people think he will, then the Titans honestly might be the second best team in the division. But if he doesn't, I think they fall flat and they go 5-12. AFC West, I have the Chiefs going 12-5 this year. Look, I know, you lose Snead, who's a stud corner. And they had all these legal problems in the offseason, guys getting arrested left and right. Harrison Butker said some questionable things, but first of all, at least he didn't commit a crime or anything like that. They'll be fine. That's war under the bridge by now. Yes, the receiving core isn't great, but you have Hollywood Brown, who's pretty good. I know he's nicked up, but he should be back by, I think, at least week 3 or 4. Is everybody I have some concerns with, but the guy's got game-changing speed. For the most part, looked very good in camp. Rashid Rice, I don't know if he got suspended or not, but to this point, he has been. He's a very good young receiver. Kelty's still the best tight end in the league. The Chiefs love those, smaller, speedy, fast slot receivers. And they got a ton of those. They'll be fine. You still have Chris Jones up front on defense, and George Karlaftis, and Willie Gay, and all those guys on defense, and Justin Reed. And you still have Patrick Mahomes. That's really all you need. Mahomes, Reed, they're all still there. There's nothing that's happened. There's a point in, every offseason where, people, start, pretending the Chiefs aren't amazing, and they're going to fall off. And it's, it's funny for, I don't know, 4 seconds, and it's no, they're not going to fall off. No. They're not, no. They will probably be in the Super Bowl again. In fact, they're my Super Bowl pick. Not to spoil it, but I don't know who else to pick. There's just plenty of other good teams, but I'll believe them when I see it, when they're not going to win the Super Bowl. So, yeah, they're winning the division. That's happening. In second place, I have Los Angeles Chargers. I think they'll be better than people think. Jim Harbaugh's a great coach. He's the right man for the job. Yes, you could argue, they're in a rebuilding, retooling phase. Normally, you don't have the coach or the quarterback yet. Or maybe you might have one or not both. Or you might have potential in both of them. You know what you have yet. You have both set in stone right now. I know Harbaugh's a new hire, but we know what this guy can do. And, Gus and Dobbins are running back now. Gus is a solid back, especially in the red zone. Dobbins, he's healthy, he's really good. He's never healthy. Another receiving core leaves a lot to be desired. But I think Lab McConkey's a very good receiver. And the rest of it, it's kind of with Joshua Palmer. Quentin Johnson, that guy is just horrible. That they missed on that pick. But I think Herbert will elevate Herbert, turn him into a starter. I think he's got a chance to be. And then defensively, you still have Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack up there. Kenneth Murray, Derwin James. I think with Jesse Minter as the coordinator that Harbaugh brought with him from Michigan, they'll be a lot better. They'll reach their full potential. Greg Roman as the offensive coordinator. Not a big fan of him, but I see what Harbaugh's trying to do. He brings in a run. He likes to run the ball, and he brings in a run-heavy offensive coordinator. He drafts Joe Alt 5th overall. Their line will be a lot better. I think they win 10 games and make the playoffs. In third place, they have the Las Vegas Raiders. I have them 6-11. Their starting quarterback was just named the other day. It's Gardner Minshew. I don't know what y'all were expecting. I just don't. I mean, he's a fine backup, but he's not a starting quarterback in this league. He's a fun guy, but he's just not a starter. And look, the weapons are nice. Devontae Adams is still a right player. Jacoby Myers is a good receiver. You have two very good young tight ends in Michael Mayer and especially Brock Bowers. I think Samir White could be a decent back, but just. And then the defense up front with Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins. And if Tyree Wilson breaks out this year, they have a nice looking defensive line, but the rest of the defense leaves a lot to be desired. Their line's just okay. You know, a lot of issue with the team. They're really, really mediocre. I don't know how they're going to beat the Chiefs this year. I know that they're talking a lot of smack, so we'll see what happens, but don't see it. I like Antonio Pierce as a great motivator. I think he could be a good coach, but I don't see it. 6-11 this year. And with Denver Broncos, I've been going 3-14. I think they'll be the worst team in the league. Bo Nix has looked sharp in camp, but once the regular season starts, you know, there's going to be a learning curve for him. It's unfair to say that there won't be. There's nothing else going for them. The line is terrible. The only weapon they already have is Courtland Sutton. I like them drafting Troy Franklin. It's Bo Nix, this guy from Oregon. Running game is just Javonte Williams is okay. If Jaleel McLaughlin some up here right now, you draft the kid out. Was it Audric Estime out of Notre Dame? I think his name is. They're terrible defensively. There's just nothing there besides Pat Surtain. This team is horrible. Well, Sean Payton's had a great career, but it just isn't working. They're going to be horrible. And that's the AFC. Let's shift gears to the NFC. NFC East. I have the Philadelphia Eagles winning the division. I've been going 11-6. I know I was concerned with the collapse last year, what's going on with the coaching staff, and apparently Hurts and Sirianni, the relationship isn't perfect. But from what I've heard, it was really bad towards the end of last year. Now it's improved. They're not friends. Like, they won't go out to dinner together, but it's professional, which is kind of what you need in this league to me. Hurts, he took a little bit of a step back last year, but he wasn't bad by any means. I think he'll be better. You had Sicko, if that guy's healthy, he's a stud, and you have AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, and Goddard. Losing Jason Kelce is a big loss, especially you know off the field. But I think Cam Jurgens will step in very nicely. He's still have a great line. You still have a loaded front seven. I think you fix the secondary. You draft Cooper DeJean, and then beforehand you draft Terry Arnold. Well, not Terry Arnold. You draft the other kid, Quinion Mitchell. You drafted as well. So you got two studs there. I think the secondary will be much better. You have much better coordinators. To me, Sirianni, I don't think he's a great coach. I think he hires well. I think that's why they had so much success a couple of years ago. But Kellen Moore's a pretty solid offensive coordinator.
I'm not sure.
My Alexa just went off. That was funny. But he's a pretty solid offensive coordinator. I think he gets overhyped a little bit. He's not elite, but he's fine, especially with the talent he's got. Defensive coordinator, I'm a big fan. He's a very good defensive coordinator. I'm surprised he was let go last year. In where was he last year? In not Jacksonville, Miami. But you know, I think they will be fine. I think the locker room problem. I think at this point, if they leak into this year, at that point, that's the most immature group of human beings I've ever met. And part of the reason I have them is I think Dallas is going to fall off. I do have them as a playoff team, but they'll be 10-7, nothing more. Like, if they pay Dak $60 million, to me, Jerry Jones is fine with mediocrity. The guy is very overrated. He's a fine star, decent quarterback, but not elite by any means. They have no running game. Ezekiel Elliott's washed. He's their top back. You haven't seen, Deuce Vaughn, the guy's like 2 inches shorter than me. I'm not tall by any means. Rico Dowdle. Outside of CeeDee Lamb, there isn't much there at receiving core. Brandon Cooks is still a solid complimentary piece, but he's much older, and now he's hurt. Ferguson's a pretty good tight end. Also, at the line, you lose a stud left tackle in Tyron Smith. You lose a really good center in Tyler Bayads. Now, you're very inexperienced off the line. Defensively, outside of Parsons and I guess DeMarcus Lawrence, Trevon Diggs and Bland are great ball hawkers, but they're not great cover guys. So I'm not expecting a lot from Dallas. It'll be the same thing. They'll win 10 games. They'll make the playoff. The fans will go nuts and lose in the first round. Simple as that. In third place, we have the Washington Commanders. I've been going 16-11. Look, Dan Quinn, to me, is proving he's not a good head coach. I don't know why he's a head coach again. Jaden Daniels, I like the talent on the kid, but I don't think he's that NFL ready. And look, they have, McClellan's a very good receiver. I like Dotson. He's pretty good, but I don't think he's reached his full potential yet. Other than that, there's not a whole lot there. Robinson's a decent back, but nothing more. The offensive line still sucks, but defense, slightly better. Like, you added who's a pass rusher from Dallas, he's a fine player. You still have Allen and Payne there. The rest of the defense is god-awful. I like Frankie Louvi. You pick him up. He's a good linebacker. He's a very versatile guy. But, you know, if Cliff Kingsbury's out the corner, I don't know what they're doing there. And it's just such a bad organization. Their stadium's falling apart. They just suck all along. They're horrible. No, just no. 6-11. And the Giants will be 4-13. How has Daniel Jones lasted 6 years as a starter? I don't get it. What did Joe Jones see that went $40 million a year? I just don't understand. You got... I don't get it. It makes no sense. Like, you got, like, you know, all these teams that are willing to move on when the guys get bad. And even, like, the Jets, they saw Zach Wilson for 2 years. Like, all right, enough. You know, Aaron Rodgers, take half the world for an aging, hurt Aaron Rodgers. You know, Bears, Justin Fields, and we're all right, let's try out Caleb Williams. We're not, you guys know my opinion on him, obviously. It's very negative. But with regards to your opinion on him, at least the Bears were willing to try something else. No matter if it works or not. And the Falcons are like, all right, doesn't work. You know, year 2 didn't work. Let's get rid of him. Let's go out and spend money on Kirk Cousins. And the Giants are going into year 6 of Daniel Jones, and he's making $40 million a year. I don't know how that happened. They don't have a running game. Singletary's a serviceable back, nothing more. Neighbors is an incredible talent, but he's stuck on a terrible offense, and the rest of the receiving core is absolutely horrendous. Who's the next best receiver? Darius Slayton, he might actually retired. I don't even know who else they have. Darren Waller retired, so I don't know who the tight end is. But with Theo Johnson, the 4th-round rookie. The line should be a little better. Having Andrew Thomas healthy. Michael Schmidt should hopefully he plays every game this year. Now, you had Jermaine Illuminor, who I think is a solid swing tackle, nothing more. You had John Ryan, who's a pretty good guard. But you still have Evan Neal there, and he is just pathetically bad. The line still isn't that good. They'll have a great pass rush, but the secondary is just okay. They're going to suck. 4-13. NFC North, we're up to next. I have the Detroit Lions winning the division. A lot of people are saying the Packers might win it. I still think it's the Lions. Goff's a very good quarterback. Not great, but he's a good quarterback. The offense is loaded with Gibbs and Montgomery. Is an incredible running game. Amon-Ra is an absolute stud. They have probably the best offensive line in the league. Penei Sewell and all these guys they got. Now Frank Ragnow and Derek Decker. The line is stacked. I think James Williams will step up here. I think it finally happens. Defense, I think they'll be much better, and they weren't that bad last year anyway. You know, Hutchinson's an absolute stud. Up front, secondary was a lot better. You had Carlton Davis. You draft Tim Arnold in the 1st round. I think they'll be a lot better. Dan Campbell's a very good coach. Ben Johnson's a great offensive coordinator. Campbell's decision-making can be a little bit too gutsy sometimes, but overall, he's a very good coach. And I have the Lions win 12 games. Win the division. I had the Packers at 11-6. They'll be good. Jordan Love is definitely a good quarterback. Not sure if he's great. But then you look. You lose Aaron Jones, but you bring in Josh Jacobs, who's a little bit overrated. I think they gave him too much money, but he's a solid back. They still have A.J. Dillon. They have a ton of great young receivers over there. Now, Jaden Reed's really good. I think that Dontavian Dix could be a breakout candidate this year. You got, who else you got over there? Romeo Doubs, a good young receiver. Watson, if he's healthy. Tucker Kraft's a good tight end. You know, the line, I know they're young, but, you know, if Jordan Morgan works out with Josh Myers there and Elton Jenkins, they should be fine. Defensively, you know, you got Preston Smith, you got Kenny Clark, you got, you know, all these guys. Jai Ryan healthy, still a good corner. But they're a very good team. I think they win 11 games. Then, in 3rd place, I have the Chicago Bears. Look, I think they're being overhyped. You know, Caleb looked good in preseason, but I think he's going to be in for a bit of a rude awakening. I think he'll struggle more than people think this year. Yes, that offense is crazy good. DeAndre Swift's a really good back. Keenan Allen's a stud. He's older, but he's a very good player when he's healthy. Roman Dune's going to be a great receiver. You have DJ Moore, who's an incredible talent over there. Cole Kmet's a good tight end, so the offense is incredibly stacked. Some of the offensive line is just okay. Defensively, I think they're just okay. You have some pieces there, but especially in the secondary with Jamin Johnson. But also, I don't think Matt Eberflus is a good head coach by any means. So I have them going 6-11. I think they're going to struggle more than people think. But the Vikings out at 4-13, they just cannot catch a break. Rookie corner J.J. McCarthy was probably going to start this year. Very early on, he's out for the year. That's a horrible loss. And the Aston is nicked up, and their top corner is out for the year. Just what could go wrong has gone wrong for the Vikings these last 2 months. Sam Darnold is their starting quarterback. That sentence alone should that should be okay. So not they're winning no more than 5 games. Cool. All right, move on with the preview. That's what it should be. Look, Jefferson's amazing. Aston's really good. You have Hawkinson coming back. Aaron Jones is a nice pickup, but their starting quarterback is Sam Darnold. Will he have the best year of his career because he's got the best weapon he's had as a starter? I guess. But if I had to predict his stat, it'd probably 3,000 yards, 18 touchdowns against 11 interceptions. That's as good as it's gonna get. And defensively, they're not that good. You lose Hunter, you swap him with John for Grenard. That's okay as a pass rusher. Hunt's better now. In a couple of years, Grenard will probably be better. Ivan Pace is a pretty good linebacker. Other than that, Harrison Smith is still decent. Other than that, their defense absolutely sucks. And shame because I really like Kevin O'Connell, but he just has nothing to work with. Sam Darnold is his starting quarterback. I can't get over that. I'm sorry. I just can't get over that he's a starter there. That's really sad. 4 wins for them. NFC South, I have the Falcons going 10-7. Any doubts I had of them not being better than the Bucs this year were gone when they traded for Matt Giuliani. And then they signed Justin Simmons after that. So, honestly, you bring Kirk Cousins, you got a decent quarterback. Bijan's a stud if they use him properly, which looks like they're going to. I like Drake London a lot. I like Kyle Pitts as a really good red zone threat. I think he'll be really good. He had 1,000 yards his rookie year. Then you got, you bring in Jordan Mooney, who's pretty good. Offensive line's pretty good. Defensively, Judon's a huge pickup for them. He's a great pass rusher. He guy's an absolute stud. He's 12 sacks. The guy gives you 12, 14 sacks. Was having a great year last year before he got hurt. Now you add him to a team that really needed help with the pass rush. Now you get it. You have Grady Jarrett there still. Secondary, you have A.J. Terrell, who's a great corner anyway. Justin Simmons is still a good safety. Finally, someone picks him up. They'll be a good team. I'm not sold on Raheem Morris, but I think Zach Robinson's a good offensive coordinator. They'll win 10 games. That division is really bad. I had the Bucs 9-8. They're the same team they were last year, except the year older. Plus, we see Baker do it when he plays well, and then he goes out and sucks. Next year, we do that again. Evans is obviously a Hall of Fame receiver to me, but not going any younger. Godwin seems to be declining. Rashad White's pretty good, but he's not really a great runner to me. He's more of a pass catcher. The offensive line I still have concerned with. Defensively, that team is honestly, they're looking a little old. Todd Bowles is not a good head coach. They'll be 9-8 again. I have a Saints at 6-11. They just have Derek Carr as their quarterback, first of all. That alone should cap them at 6 or 7 wins. He's washed. And an absolutely ancient and expensive roster. Alvin Kamara isn't the same anymore. Actually, Chris Olave is the only weapon they really got. Defensively, Cameron Jordan's so good, but he's much older. And the rest of the roster, Marshall Mathers pretty good, but getting old. They're just old. Demario Davis, still a very good player, but he's 35, 36. That team is just so old. They're going to fall off. And how Dennis Allen still has a head coaching job in the NFL. It needs to be studied by science. That's honestly a miracle. And in last place, I have the Carolina Panthers. I have them at 5-12. Look, Bryce Young was not set up well last year, obviously, but I don't see it with him. I mean, getting Jonathan Brooks back by week 4, I think, will help. I think he's a pretty good back. But so you have a rookie who's coming off a major injury, and Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders as your running backs. Receiving core is a little better. You bring in Deontay Johnson, draft Xavier Legette. Legette's a fine 2 or 3 at best, I think. Dustin Johnson's kind of the same thing. And it's Adam Thielen, who's still pretty good, but much older. And then not much else. Hayden Hurst is just okay. I mean, you add a couple of pieces on the offensive line. You add Robert Hunt. Then somebody else on the interior, which will help. But still the line is great. Defensively, losing Brian Burns is a big hit for your pass rush. Secondary will probably be okay. I think Dave Cannell is a better head coach for what that team's looking for, but they still suck. They're still a bad organization. Dave Tepper is just god-awful. 5-12. And then the NFC West. The 49ers, I had them going 12-5 again. No. Something in me wants to think maybe they take a slight step back with the Ayuk drama, which, please end it. I'm tired of that storyline. Just so much pressure that's on them. I don't think the offensive line is that good. But Purdy is a good quarterback. I wouldn't say great, but he's good. Devo's a stud. You have Ayuk right now. You drafted Ricky Pearsall. Kale's a stud. McCaffrey's amazing. You have more ones you know what to do with. The offensive line outside of Trent Williams, I think leaves a lot to be desired. Plus Trent's getting a little bit older. Defensively, look, Nick Bosa is a stud. Obviously, you got a lot of guys over there. You know, Fred Warner. You know, you're as stacked as it could possibly get. You know, you have the D-tackle, Siobhan Hargrave, and the front seven domain. The secondary, to me, leaves a little bit to be desired. They're fine, but I think they might struggle against some of the top offenses. To me, it's Super Bowl or bust for them. They're going to lose Ayuk. They might be losing Ayuk. You know, Purdy's going to have to get paid next year. At some point, if Kyle Shanahan just can't win a big game, you have to be like, all right, this guy isn't working out. So, yeah, at some point, something has to give. No, Super Bowl or bust for them, but they'll win the division. And second place at the Los Angeles Rams. I've been waiting 10 games. They'll be pretty good. Stafford's much older, but he's still a pretty good quarterback. Should have like a really good running game with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum. Kyron looks like a stud. I like Blake Corum. Puka Nacua came out of nowhere. Was a stud last year. Cooper Kupp's still a great player. You still have Tyler Higbee, who's pretty good. Then you got, you know, obviously losing Aaron Donald's a huge loss, but I like you drafting Jared Verse. You know, you have some young guys that I think will step up for them on defense. I think they go 10-7. And then in third place, I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks, but I'm going to say they go 7-10. Geno's serviceable, but nothing more. You have Sam Howell there for a reason. I think he'll take over eventually. And just, they have some nice pieces on offense. Kenneth Walker's very good. The receivers are... Metcalf is a good receiver, but for whatever reason, he just loves punching people. And then Lockett's pretty good, though he's getting a little bit older. And their line's just okay. Defensively, you lose Quandre Diggs. You know, I love Devon Witherspoon. I think Trey Gould could be a little bit better. You know, but you lose Bobby Wagner as well. The defensive things are just You have a rookie head coach. I can see him taking a step back. And then, the Arizona Cardinals in last place. I think they'll be a little bit better, 7-10. You know, they're in a rebuild. Kyler healthy. I'm not a fan of Kyler, but he's an average starter, I'd say. You know, having James Conner healthy, plus you draft Trey Benson, and the addition of Marvin Harrison's also going to do wonders for that offense. Trey McBride's a good young tight end. Defensively, I think they'll be a little bit better. Very, very young still, but they'll be a little bit better. I think Jonathan Gannon did a pretty good job of what he had to work with last year. So 7-10. That's my NFL preview. We'll do more stuff with, you know, the NFL playoff predictions and stuff as the regular season is in a couple of weeks going forward. Next week or two. But until next time, so long. Have a great day.